Hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking on. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. It is Doofus After Dark for a Monday, and it is going to be um, a special kind of panel night. We're going to be talking about mental health, and I want to say hi to GA. GA is going to be up here here in a few minutes. We'll have GA. We'll have Cunning, and we might even have Lori Arnold. I was on Lori's channel a little bit earlier this evening, late afternoon, and had a good conversation. So after we're done here, if you don't have anything to watch, head over to Lori's channel and check that out. Going to get things started here. Again, we're going to be talking about mental health. So, and I'm back in the studio, so I've got to get used to operating out of the studio instead of operating out of the front room. There's a lot of concern about mental health, especially when it comes to the possibility of violence within our country. I got to give context here. QAnon is an American political conspiracy theory and political movement. It originated in the American far-right political sphere in 2017. QAnon centers on fabricated claims made by an anonymous individual or individuals known as Q. And we've dissected Q videos. We've talked a lot about the Q. This is from Secular Talk, and QAnon Trump supporter shocks interviewer into silence. And that's how we're going to start off tonight. This is our opening. Give people a little bit of time to come in. And here we go.
Account. And, there's a lot of people who were either never Trump. That's a certain kind of Republican. We've all seen them. In fact, liberal, pro-Democrat media loves those people. But then there's also people who are, they were Trump supporters, and they're not Trump supporters anymore. So what you're going to see here is, from the Republicans Against Trump Twitter account, you have somebody who's a former Trump supporter ends up debating a current Trump supporter. And I find this such a fascinating clip, man. I find this endlessly interesting. Because, you know what? I don't even need to set it up anymore. You'll see what I mean. There's a huge difference here between, like, the intelligence level of the two guys, the honesty of the two guys. So take a look. This is outside of a Trump event, and a guy's being interviewed about his current love and support of Trump.
Here to see my favorite president in the whole world, Donald Trump.
And why is he your favorite?
Because he says he does what he says. He gets it done.
Did he build the wall?
I believe he is, and I believe the mainstream.
But he didn't.
No. I believe that's just lies by the mainstream media.
Homeboy, you can go and look. The southern border exists. It's there. You can look. You can go check. Like, he said he was going to build a wall, the entire thing. He didn't do that. Now, look, I don't support that policy, but if you do, you can't give him credit for it when you can go and see that it ain't there, dog. There's some parts that have a wall, but by the way, one of those things is an area in California where they have a wall. It was actually like the California government that was, improving that and doing whatever to it. And, of course, Trump would go out there and take credit. But it's amazing. So here you have a former Trump supporter, and one of the reasons he turned on him is, like, he didn't build the wall, right? Which, again, I don't agree with that guy. I think that's, like, that shouldn't be a policy that you support, but it is a policy he supports. And so that's one of the reasons he's against him. But the current Trump guy, it's just totally, he's in la-la land, bro. I mean, he's gone mentally. Gone.
Here to see my favorite president in the whole world, Donald Trump.
And why is he your favorite?
Because he says he does what he says. He.
By the way, that's another red flag, man. Just hit me with a couple things. He did a new NAFTA deal, which I think is better than the old NAFTA. If he said that, it's like, okay, he's focused on policy. Or whatever. He did the First Step Act. He pardoned Alice Johnson. Right? I mean, I'm sort of talking more about the policies that I think are the best that he did. I think it's one of the best things he did, pardoning Alice Johnson in the first step back. But like, you don't need to bring up the ones that I like. Bring up the ones you like. But here's the reality, guys. He doesn't know. He doesn't know any of what this guy did. You could I'll give you $1,000 if you can name one policy Trump actually did, and you'd get.
Did he build the wall?
I believe he is, and I believe the mainstream.
But he didn't.
No. I believe that's just lies by the mainstream media, and they're covering up the truth.
Did he win the election?
Absolutely.
And why isn't he in office?
You know what? I mean, if you know what this shirt means,
What does this shirt mean?
Q is it's a mix of different things, but it's basically saying that the world is not how it seems. The media is all fake. The media is not reporting accurate information.
They're not reporting that he is actually in office?
What I believe, what actually quite a few Trump supporters believe is that Trump is still the president right now. He is running a shadow presidency, possibly from Mar-a-Lago, the White House, the real White House.
In case you're just joining us, it is panel night. It is mental health night, and we are starting out with a little examination of some of the mental health of our country.
Is shut down.
So you don't like how everything's going with him in office still?
So I believe that it's all a movie we're watching. That's what I have been told. It's all a movie, and we have actors playing different people who.
Like who else?
So Biden, the real Joe Biden that was with Obama when he was vice president with Obama, he's been executed.
So that's like Tupac, Biggie. They have a replacement. He's a hologram.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. And
You really think that?
I do. I genuinely believe it. I believe that we've been brainwashed our whole lives.
Now, keep in mind, this is one Republican. He's still a Republican. He's just not a Trumper, and he never was a Q person. We all tend to lop everybody into the same, the same boxes, if you will. This is the guy's the guy right here. This is a current Republican, a former Trumper, but never a Q. And we'll continue.
I really do. And that the fake Biden is being played by. There's a few people playing him. James Woods could be a few other prominent actors who are on Trump's side in a rubber mask playing Biden in an effort to wake people up to see what the deep state had planned for us.
Come on, you got to be fucking kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding. No, this is information. I'm not.
Okay, so if we're going to go deep state, how about RFK Jr., his uncle famously got his head blown off, and so did his dad. What do you think about the deep state doing that?
So, haven't heard much about the head being blown off, but I know that JFK Jr. is still alive, and he is going to eventually...
How about John?
Okay, all right. Hasn't heard much about the assassination of President Kennedy or Bobby Kennedy Jr., but John F. Kennedy Jr. is still alive, and James Woods and other prominent actors on Trump's side. I'm assuming that's like Scott Baio. I don't know anybody else right off the top of my head. You can't do both. All right. You can't say that that Trump is the president and then get mad at the White House and what's coming out of the White House, like sending stuff to Ukraine. If Trump's still the president, he's obviously greenlighting all this stuff that a lot of people are mad about. Cocaine at the White House. Well, if Trump's still president, he's got to be responsible for the cocaine at the White House. You can't have it both ways. We got some mental illness. Is it Is it to the place where, and I think it might be, it just might be, is it to the place where it's time to let everybody that's in prison for just smoking marijuana, let all those people out and start considering some spaces for some of these people that are incredibly deranged and potentially dangerous to themselves and to us? It's just something to think about. Just something to think about. I got a couple of quick Twitter bookmarks to roll down, and then we'll get the panel rolling. This one, again, this kind of stuff just keeps popping up, just to remind people who this con man really is, and it's so much darker than just a con man.
What's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
He's definitely not a typical father.
That's an old Midas touch ad that I just wanted to bring back, just in case people forgot who this guy really is. And we have to question the people that are pushing to have him back. They don't care. And if they don't care, what, I've always said, who you support in politics says more about you than it does about them. Speaking of which, Nazi sympathizer Nick Fuentes is persona non grata in the Republican Party, according to the RJC, as stated in the GOP's resolution condemning anti-Semitism. Nick Fuentes, who actively spread anti-Semitic bile, mocked the Holocaust, promoted dangerous anti-Israeli conspiracy theories, has absolutely no place in the Republican Party. And any group that doesn't understand that is out of step with the GOP. All right. Nick Fuentes is going to be the keynote speaker at the College Republicans Convention. The guy that significant portion of the Republican Party just said he had no place in the Republican Party is going to be the College Republicans Convention speaker. Now, can you connect dots? I know some of you are really good at connecting dots. Are you willing to connect these dots? Here's Nick Fuentes. Let me get back here to the beginning. And come on. And one thing I don't like about using...
I saw something on Twitter. I don't even know if this is true. But something on Twitter said, like, all of Hitler's girlfriends were 16 and 17. And Alex Jones, I don't even know if that's true. But if that is, that's probably why Alex Jones called Hitler a pedophile. And it's like, you faggots would be saying the same thing about Hitler. MLK was a rapist and Hitler was a pedophile. It's like, you know what? The world's a little bit more complicated than that. Okay? The world's a little bit more complicated than you're making it out to be. Hitler was a pedophile and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really fucking cool. So, time to grow up. We're not children anymore, am I right?
I don't know. It's not my words. You guys that are supporting this stuff are the ones that are going to have to end up justifying it. Just like our good buddy Marco Rubio, senator from Florida, who now says Trump's rhetoric is like a third world strongman. And in 2016, he said, for years to come, there are many people on the right, in the media, and voters at large that are going to be having to explain and justify how they fell into this trap of supporting Donald Trump. Of course, True to form, Rubio would go on to support Donald Trump. Accountability, will it come some point? I don't know. We'll find out. All right. Like I said, just a quick bookmarks for tonight. And now we will get the ladies up here if they are all in here. Hop up here, ladies. If you are on here, the link is at the top of the chat. And we're going to start with here comes GA. Let me reconfigure the studio here a little bit like this, and we'll bring up GFC.
GFC. Oh, GA from CA.
That's what it says on your thing, GFC.
I was trying to figure out what it meant. It took me a minute. Hi, Barry. How are you?
To quote a popular situation comedy from the 1970s.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yes, welcome back. Thank you for coming back. Hi, Georgia.
Hi, sweetie. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. It's been a minute.
It has. We'll talk about a lot of it. There's been a lot going on.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Is Cunning around yet?
Cunning is in the chat, I see.
Come on, girl. Come on.
And Cunning's right here.
Okay, good.
And here's Lori Arnold as well. So everybody's here. Welcome, Cunning. Lori, good to see you again. It's just been an hour.
5 minutes.
Cunning, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? How are all y'all?
I'm good. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Is everything good as far as the audio, the video?
I can hear you perfectly. I don't know if the people in chat are hearing everything.
Okay, good. All right.
Yep, we can hear you.
Awesome. All right. Okay. So how do you want to start this? I've got a lot of like little segments that we could possibly play and talk about that. But I kind of had the feeling that you might have something you wanted to start out with.
I sure do. We have a Cunning and I have been talking about this, and we've made an outline and then another outline because maybe someday I'll have a diagnosis of OCD, but we wanted to kind of come at quote mental health from a different direction. What you just played, that's mentally ill. The QAnon people, that is mentally ill.
Okay.
The fact that I'm under medical care from a therapist and a doctor and this and that, it doesn't make me mental like a QAnon person, I don't think. But
this whole thing's going to be an incredible case study.
Yeah, you're not kidding. You're not kidding. I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime.
We've got the QAnon thing. We've got the magnetic poles are both at least migrating, if not getting ready to flip, letting more radiation in, which is impacting mental and physical on humans. Right. And I just want to kind of make a statement that it's probably just common knowledge, but I don't know if we often think about it. Our mental health contributes to our physical condition.
Oh yeah.
And our physical health contributes to our mental conditions.
Definitely. And our emotional well-being. And so one of the things, if you're up for it, I wanted to make sure that if anybody, I know there's not a lot of people. G. Abbott just went live, and so did AP.
Okay, well, fine.
But if anybody in the chat, anybody anywhere wants to participate, ask questions, I'd like it to be real as interactive as we can get it, you know.
Okay.
One of the I'm trying to decide where to start. Cunning, where do you think I should start on the outline? Is she there?
I don't know.
Yes, I'm so sorry. My groceries just got delivered an hour late.
Okay.
So I'm like trying to bring everything in and put it
Well,
away.
out of well, okay, let me just tell my story, I guess, Doofus.
Yeah.
My life has changed completely since December 30th. I lost my job of 15 years on December 30th. Everything I worked for all my life, I am 61, going on 62, lasted me 3 months. That's all I had was 3 months. I got a fourth month in my apartment because of a security deposit. And then, had it not been for family, I would have either been homeless or having to move to Louisiana to live with a daughter and one of my daughters. And it was really easy to go from that, you know. It was I was because I was let go, I freaked out, you know. My self-esteem, my self-worth, everything was connected to that job. I have been told for 15 years how much I kick ass at this job, right? And then I lose it. So one of the things that I wanted people to be aware of in general, that it's really easy to end up homeless. You know,
Oh yeah.
what if people don't have family? Um, you know, I'm incredibly lucky that my daughter and her fiance have opened their arms, like, please move in. We want you here, you know. Didn't make me feel like it was an imposition. I haven't been able to work. I haven't been able to get myself a full-time job. But what I got, and we'll go into the social services part of this, what I did get was a state health plan that is the best insurance I've ever had in my life, and food stamps. And so I'm living with them. I am doing the meal planning and the shopping with my daughter, and I cook 5 nights out of 7 a week. I have food stamps and insurance. The insurance pays. I'm in therapy. My therapy is free. I take medications for different things. That's all free. The health insurance, now this is funny, the job I was let go from is in the insurance field. The health insurance I had through work, which a lot of us do, right?
Yeah.
Your job and you have your health insurance. When I had my health insurance, I couldn't afford to get help. I needed help the last year of my job, and I couldn't get it because I couldn't afford it with the insurance. So now I'm here with the best, in the best situation as far as insurance goes. But if I go to work full time, of course I lose it. You can work, I don't even know how much you can work. I think I could work some part-time hours and but here I am. I'm 61 years old. We talked about that. And I'm in a position that I absolutely never thought I would be in.
Oh my gosh. I can relate to that. I never
Yeah.
thought I'd be where I'm at the moment.
Yeah. It's like people saying health insurance shouldn't be that way. Health insurance, the state insurance that I get, literally, I don't have to think about at all. I can go to the doctor. I've got a list 5 miles long, doctors that I need to see, that people that I haven't been seeing because I didn't have the money. I've got blood work coming up. I've got a mammogram coming up, which I'm 3 years late for. You know, all of that. And shouldn't there be a better? It's the perfect commercial for Medicare for all. You know, why shouldn't everybody have the same opportunity? Why should the people that are working be penalized with shittier insurance? You know,
Great question.
Why can only
That's a really good point. Sorry.
yeah, why can only the rich retire? Like, it,
Why we are a nation of tremendous resources.
and
Why are our resources distributed the way they are?
they're not, you know, and that's, we can get political with it, but it's from a simply human standpoint.
Right. Yeah.
It's
No, I
not,
don't want to get political.
it's not right. It's not right that we have, you know, if you want to go, you know, the millions and millions of homeless people, and that there are agencies that don't have anything to do with the government. These are groups, not agencies. These are groups of people that have been put together, private groups that are helping people. I think most people will remember a month or so ago when my son disappeared.
I
And
didn't know that.
he disappeared in Portland,
Oh my
Oregon.
gosh.
And he was he had been in rehab, and it was a 90-day program, and they kicked him out at 45 days, and he literally had trash bags with his stuff calling me from a park in Portland going, what the hell am I supposed to do now? So we talked for a couple of days, and then he disappeared.
Oh my god.
No. I'm sorry. No, it wasn't then. I told him call a mentor that he had. The mentor got him into a halfway house. Okay.
Okay.
Then he was going to come down where I was, because he actually needed to go to jail. And he knew it. He skipped a court date. He knew he had to go. He is still in Portland. But at that time, and then he vanished. Our phones got shut off. I can't pay bills. I have $281 in food stamps a month. That's all I have. I don't have any cash. My unemployment claim is pending an appeal right now. So I didn't get the unemployment that I was supposed to get. So in his situation, he vanished. We didn't hear from him. We're a pretty close family, even though he has issues. Our family is, you know, we keep in touch. And we couldn't find him for, I want to say, Cunning, do you remember, was it like 10 days or longer? I don't remember.
I think it was 10 days, but it felt way longer, probably.
It felt a little longer. Yeah. So I found him. My daughter and I called every jail, every hospital. There are 3 morgues. We called those. Now, mind you, I'm at the time just therapy with my therapist, and I'm going through my own shit, and my kid is missing. Okay.
Jeez.
We finally we actually had several people help us find him that weren't supposed to help us. They weren't, quote, allowed to help us, but they did. And we found out he was in the hospital, and he had walking pneumonia apparently for more than a month.
Oh my god.
And he ended up in the hospital with the infection had gone into his bloodstream, so he was close to sepsis when they got him in the hospital. Like, they said if he had not been taken in by like a day or two, he could have died. So he's going through that, I'm going through that. And the main reason I wanted to tell you about him was his type of homeless is very different from what somebody else's might be. But so I started therapy about a month ago. And one of my issues was him.
Somebody's out front of my house. You go ahead and keep going. I'll be right back.
Okay. One of my issues was dealing with him, or the stress and the strain of dealing with him. And so what I did finally, because this has been, how long? I've been expecting him to die for about 25 years. From his first overdose, he was maybe 15 and he's 37. So I was dealing with that when I started therapy. And one of the things that I was able to do because of the therapy was to no longer hold him up like I always have, to no longer enable him. But the main thing that I had to learn was not telling him, not looking up all the resources for him and then telling him, here, call this person, call that person, call it, because that's normally what I would do. There's help here, there's help there, blah, 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 blah. I realized that maybe he would get help on his own. Maybe he would get help on his own. And so what I started doing was I told him what I was doing in therapy. I told him I started therapy, and what my therapist did with me, because I've spent a really, really, really long time not dealing with things that I need to deal with. I had a list of, I don't even know, 875,000 things to do. Oh, you okay?
How?
Did you hit your head on the your
Yes.
nose?
I hit my bridge of my nose on my microphone.
Oh shit.
Yes. All right. Sorry.
Well, so what we're doing in this is how my therapy is going. Okay. We sat down and figured out all the list of 100 things that I needed to get done that I haven't been doing, because it was really freaking me out that I needed to. For instance, I'm going to be 62 in 2 months. I could conceivably retire and take Social Security at 70%, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I needed to talk to Social Security. I needed to try in an effort to try to contribute more. I've been going to food banks around town and bringing in more groceries for the household. I found out that my insurance plan has dental and vision, so I need to get in touch with them and see who my providers are and go take care of those things. There was just a list that went on and on and on and on, and it was freaking me the hell out that I wasn't getting anything done. And the worst part of it is I moved a 60-year lifetime into basically a garage. I am in a bedroom we have a 3-bedroom apartment. My daughter and her fiance are downstairs. I am upstairs, which is cool. And upstairs, it's kind of backwards. Upstairs is the living room, dining room, and kitchen. So I have my own little space here, but my 60 years of lifetime is down in the garage because there's no room yet. I have things to do in this apartment before I can unpack all the boxes and all the stuff that I need. So I don't have all my clothes. I don't have all my kitchen. And that's unsettling. I needed to, and this is me. This is my what my therapy and what would work for me. This is not This is not what works for everybody. If anybody wants to talk about, I know Cunning can share if she wants to. Therapy is different things to different people. One of the other things that I had to do was kind of make a schedule for myself. I now have a time frame when I get up, get my coffee, get a shower, review what I want to do for the day. Time for cleaning, time for phone calls and emails, time for I lay down if I want to, clean and prep for dinner, make dinner. And then it doesn't never occurred to me, because this is the kind of person I am, and therapists help me with this, is that self-care needs to be included in all that. And so she made me put down at 8 o'clock every night, I would crochet. And at 9 o'clock, I would start my bedtime routine, which has not happened yet. And at 10 o'clock, I would go to bed. I have a different schedule for the weekends. This is not everybody's therapy. She's helping me at the same time deal with grief from my father dying. Uh-oh.
Okay,
Deepest dog.
can you guys hear her? I apologize, but I've had death threats and crap, and
Oh, Jesus.
well, I mean, and I'm not paranoid about it, but at the same time, she's a pretty good warning system. So
Yep, go look.
you keep talking, and I'll be right.
Go look. Go look. So I don't know.
I can sympathize with you, girl, on the having your life down into one tiny little spot. Mine went into a huge.
Yeah, I know. I know the way that you had to live when you were in Indiana still, and then moving yourself across the country in what, your car?
Oh, I had to leave so much stuff that I wouldn't have normally left if I'd have had like an apartment to take it to or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, you've got you don't have all the things that you're used to having to prepare the stuff that you're making. Everything is kind of new.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's unsettling, and I don't know if it's unsettling because of my age. It's kind of weird to think, okay, I'm 61 years old. What kind of person am I that I now literally had 3 months, sorry, 3 months to live on what I had, and then, thank God I have family, because now I have nothing.
No, I understand that, because like in my situation, I'm going through a divorce.
Exactly.
And so through a lot of this, I had like that money as far as to pay my own gas or whatnot. And like I had a home still, but then there came a point at which, and I'm still there because I'm not divorced yet.
Right.
That the only money you have to go find a job or something, because you have literally zero money. And if it hadn't been for people, like Echo, letting me come and stay with him, so I had a place for me and my dog and my rabbit and my stuff, and a place to start from, so you could get a job, and all that help from other people, from the internet, even, believe it or not, people I've met through the internet, behind the scenes that could not even financially, but just mentally help.
Right. And it makes a difference. It's, if we want to, Cunning, I don't know if there's anything you want to talk about the difference in your therapy or not.
I mean,
how it's different.
Yeah. I think, every therapist is different and every situation is different, but the main thing is you have to be honest with yourself about whether you are simpatico with the person. They assigned me, the first thing they did was assign me a man therapist who had the same name as my ex-husband, and I immediately didn't like him. I couldn't help it. It wasn't there, and the personality. So, I spoke up, and that was one of the first things I did in my therapy that I didn't even know I was doing. I spoke up and was like, no, I am not comfortable. So yeah,
That's a
you have
good
to.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was worried. I didn't know, but from the minute I spoke to my therapist, I knew that she'd be able to help me. And you know what's funny? It's because of her name. Because her name is Katrina. And
Oh yeah.
I like Katrina so much from Summer's channel that I knew that I would like this woman, and I do. And that's the first thing. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
You know what though? Can I say something though that I think that I want to tell people who have a little bit different than that, where they have to search and search and search for the right
Right.
person.
Exactly.
Because I had to do that both with my chronic pain condition and with the mental problems, to
Right.
find the right therapist, to find the right doctors that will help you. And a lot of times people feel like giving up because
Oh
they
yeah.
just can't find the right person. And I just want to encourage people that if you don't, if you don't feel that with somebody, you don't feel like their therapy is helping you, go to someone else.
And they're not the therapists are not upset if you do that either.
No.
Like they know if you can't relate to them, if you can't talk to them, if you don't like them, they know full well and good that they're not going to get anywhere with you. So nobody minds if you go elsewhere.
And
yeah, if you're wasting your time, there's going to be no therapy happening if you're not able to get along well with that therapist.
Not only
or
that, but
doctor.
like you said, Cunning, about there'd be no therapy. If I would encourage people that it's good to tell your story to a therapist. They need to know what they're dealing with. But if that's all you're doing is always just telling that over and over to them,
No.
you're not getting therapy. You're
There's
just
gotta
having
be
a chat session.
there's gotta be some work.
The first thing that happened to me when I went to therapy was the first time I was like, oh, this is not at all what I expected, because you don't go in and just start complaining and bitching about everybody else and what's happened and everything.
Right.
It's like the first thing you have to do is look inward and look at yourself and be honest with yourself, and that comes first before you can ever start working on the other stuff.
Well,
So I was like, oh wow, okay.
This is funny. That was one of the I have always be kind. Let's talk about that in a second. One of the first things I said to my therapist was basically, do I have to come in here and talk about my fucking childhood and my parents and my this, my that? I'm 61 years old, this is all on me now. I don't want to, dear God, please don't make me go back to my childhood, And she says, maybe, depends on what we find out in therapy. I'm like, shit. and always be kind. That's for trauma, right? Am I wrong in that EMDR
is that the sound stuff?
No, I don't think so. It's a type of therapy, right? Does anybody know for sure? I think it's a type of therapy, and it's, I think, for people with big trauma. But unless she answers, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I was thinking that it was, and I'm not sure either. I was thinking it was a therapy that where they use like a sound and you have to think certain things. And I had my therapist do it once to me with a special sound with a bowl or something.
No, you know what this is? EMDR is, I think, conditioning you to not. I think you go through the therapy and it's conditioning you not to react.
Eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing therapy.
Right. So your therapy is, they're gonna walk through your trauma and help you to look at it a different way. Yeah, always be kind. I've heard that it's very
yes,
that it can work for people. That it can really work for people with trauma.
It helped. I'll tell you, it helped me a lot. I think that is what that he did, because he had me go through certain situations
Right.
And he had a bowl, though. He was using a bowl with a little thing in there that he would rub on it, and it made a sound.
Right.
And I had to follow certain instructions. And I will tell you, after 2 of those sessions, I don't know why or how, but it really did help.
I'll be darned.
It really did.
And I know that there are therapists, counselors. I don't know if it's psychiatrists, psychologists, but there are people who specialize in EMDR.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a little
okay, good.
Little sampling
in my head.
My childhood was so bad with the abuse. I've been to therapy for years. I liked my therapist, but nothing really changed.
I can't stand going out to bars or being around people. I drink alone. I think it used to make me feel better, but not anymore.
Since the attack, I feel numb. Had to leave school and work. My life just stopped.
Huh.
The best news is that EMDR usually doesn't take that long.
Yep.
The feeling that a person is stuck in the past can change with EMDR. People with PTSD can become fully present and live their lives the way they intend. PTSD can be treated, and people can get back to the lives they want to live.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Barry, that is exactly okay. So like I was stuck in the past. For me, it was a past trauma that I was always stuck there. Could never get out of it. It controlled my life. And that was what kind of happened is I went through that with my therapist, and it took situations where you get very emotional about, and it took away that power. When by the time you get done with it, that where now, even though I know that was traumatic or whatever, it doesn't have that powerful emotional pull on me anymore to put me back into the trauma.
Yep. Michelle, did you have anything like that with your therapy at the beginning? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. One of the first things she taught me was tools, which is, the breathing exercises,
right?
Because I was dealing with a lot of anxiety, and of course, trauma from childhood, but and for me, the the thing I went into it dreading the most was going back through talking about it, because my way of dealing with it my entire life was, well, I disassociated. I have that disorder, and I have chunks missing out of my memory, during my childhood. I have chunks missing still, but so that's how I dealt with it. But so I never faced it. I never talked about it. So it did. Lori's right. It held a power over me, like I had this recurring night terror type thing that happened my entire life. I would have it at night, and it was the same dream over and over, and it was a simple dream, but it terrified me. And I would wake up, I would sleepwalk, and I would wake up at some door anywhere in the house and trying to open that door and not able to, like just trying to escape. And I mean, it was an ongoing thing, and
wow,
I would have it sometimes more than others, but it was just this recurring thing that you have no control over it. You go to sleep and it happens, but the day that I finally closed my eyes in therapy and went through each detail and relived that nightmare with my therapist, things clicked in my mind about what it was about and who it was about, and I have not had that nightmare since. I'm telling you, it was like a miracle. I mean, I went through it. It gave me a panic attack in the therapy session. I cried, and then it was released. It was gone. It had no power over me anymore. It was like that's the feeling. Like Lori said, it's amazing.
Are all three of the situations that have required therapy, are all three of them based upon childhood traumas?
Mine, we're not sure. The answer is I don't know. I don't remember most of my childhood. So, and when I do remember things, it's
Probably
different.
a sign. Okay, let me interject something here.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that my dog is all the dogs in the neighborhood. It's not just mine.
Oh, good.
No, it's not good. There's something on out.
Yeah.
But
it could be aliens. I'm just saying.
It could be aliens.
It might be.
We had that panel.
Yep.
Panel. And we're going to have another one because we didn't touch on, and we'll have to have another on this because
definitely
all the things you've been saying are leading to other things that I've got little segments up here.
Yep.
We probably won't get to all of them, but anyway, let me just interject that I have always been on the other end. I spent almost 2 decades as a United Methodist minister.
That's why I love you.
And I served two churches in 2 towns nearby. I would on Sunday mornings I would have an 8 o'clock service at one church and a 10 o'clock service at the next.
Oh.
For 6 weeks, and then we'd switch it, and I'd be at the other town at 8. Okay. Anyway, so my experiences have been on the other end,
on the counselor end.
Have been more on the end of counseling. I didn't consider it counseling. I called it listening. But one of the techniques that just came to me one day when talking to a person, and I'm hearing some of the same things from you 3 ladies, and then I hear about this what always be kind. I had never heard of that therapy.
EMDR, yeah.
I had never heard of that. Something just hit the side of the building here.
Oh shit!
Right beside where I'm at. One of the techniques I would use and recommend, and like I said, it just came to me one day. I said, look, when we ring the bell to call people to church, even when we let go of the rope, the bell is still going to ring for a little bit.
Yep.
But I don't know if that's a gunshot.
Please be safe, Barry, be extra safe.
Take care of yourself.
I will. Let go of the rope.
Right. Right.
The sooner you let go of the rope, the sooner the bell stops ringing. And if you don't ever grab a hold of the rope again, the bell won't ring anymore.
Yeah.
You know, take the power.
I like that analogy.
Take the power away from the problem. And
that's incredibly wise.
It is, and it's one of the hardest things to do for some reason. Like, I don't know. For me, it was out of sight, out of mind. Don't, you know. But I went about my life thinking I was happy, doing great. You know, that I had pushed it all back and it was done and gone. But it wasn't. You know, you have to face it and then let it go. Yeah, for sure.
Barry,
so you were like suppressing. That was your coping mechanism, was to just suppress everything.
Yeah, and it's not a good coping mechanism.
No.
You think it is, but it isn't.
No, yeah, I know. And I probably need more therapy than the three of you combined at the moment, because you guys,
everybody does.
You've been
My therapist has a therapist, and when I heard that, it made me feel so much better. Like, everyone could use someone to talk to. You know,
Lori, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah, and not to downplay, because I think it's great, you know, for people to go to counselors and people from the church and all that who can listen to them. And like what you say is nice, but honestly, for people, like, at least for me, I needed something. I needed that extra push, that extra help, you know, other than just saying things that they sound good, but I don't know how to.
Oh, absolutely.
And you also, Lori, you also.
So,
sorry.
So for me, that EMDR was something that was, along with some other therapy, was really just, it was a life changer. It was that
you all mentioned telling your stories. That at the beginning, the first thing we do is we want to hear your story.
Right.
The reason I wanted to hear the stories was because I knew my limits as far as being able to help people.
Right.
Because of my, being a pastor is totally different than being a therapist and being a psychologist or psychiatrist. So I wanted to know if indeed I could help, or if my biggest help was going to be finding a correct professional to get you where you need to go.
Well, and Lori,
some people, that's all they need.
Lori, you also had religious trauma.
Yes.
You had trauma from religion that you couldn't have sought help. You couldn't have sought any kind of solace from a pastor or a minister, because that was part of your.
That's going to just trigger you.
That was part of your issue.
Absolutely.
Yes, that would have been actual.
Okay, I'm gonna check around outside.
Please go. Please
I'll
be
back in a couple minutes. Please keep this going. I apologize for not being able to.
Yep.
I just want to make sure. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But that's why I say don't discount. I'm not trying to discount the other, because there are other people who that's what they need to hear.
And sometimes that's all they need. It depends on the situation. I don't have religious trauma in my life, but I had enough going on that wouldn't have been what helped me. I needed a therapist. I needed somebody that was going to help me turn my thinking around. One of the things that Cunning and I have been talking about over the last couple of weeks is, Lori, I don't know if you do this or not, but God, I talk and think about myself in a really bad light. I do something and say, God, what a dummy. No, I'm not. I'm not a dummy, and that kind of self-talk it's my inner monologue, and I do it out loud. And that's been one of the things that I've been working on in therapy, because it's hard. It's hard to quit a habit like that.
It is. I've gotten to the point where I'll be honest, I can say I like myself now. I went from not being like covering mirrors so I didn't have to see myself.
Right.
To now I can look at myself on this camera while I sit and talk to people. I mean, like I'm confident now in my own self.
That's one of the coolest things for me.
I still struggle with my insecurities.
Right.
I still have them. It's just that they're not at the forefront all the time. So I can actually a lot of times have more self-confidence.
Yep.
It's just getting over that, not having self-confidence.
Right.
And the more I learn and the more I do and the better I get, the more self-confidence I have. But I still have all those insecurities, and they'll hit me sometimes. And I'll have some really bad days.
Right.
Where I just feel like I've been sucked back into all that horribableness that I've been sucked so far back in that it feels like you're back into those depths. And
has anybody, including you, Lori, Cunning, anybody, Breeway, Always Be Kind, anybody, I think Mater's there. Have you ever had depression that is physically heavy, that like holds you down?
Yes.
Like
you literally can't hold your head up even sometimes.
I spent 6 months, on my bed with my cat. I was working and chatting with you guys and doing all of that, but I felt so freaking heavy that there were days that it was like all I could do to get up and go brush my teeth or go, and I still, to be honest with you, I now know when that feeling is coming on. So I'm still struggling with that, but I can kind of, I'm really good at like lying to myself, which may be a problem.
It might not be though. That's funny.
It may be a good thing. I don't know, but Barry, is it?
I agree with
you. It's like, Barry, is everything okay?
Yeah, I think so. There's some kids down the street.
Okay, good.
And I think they shot a firework and it hit the side of the house out here.
Okay. Freeway, it's not just you. I didn't leave my house for 6 months at a time over a period of several years with lockdown. It started with lockdown, and I thought, ooh, I really like this. and I can order my groceries. I don't have to go anywhere. I can, love my little apartment. Ooh, this can be great. Well, it went on and on and on and on and on, I don't know about anybody else, but the first time I heard lockdown, I thought, oh, we'll be out of it in 2 weeks. And I kept thinking, oh, it'll just be a month. It'll just be a couple of weeks more, over and over and over. So then it got to where I went from, I don't want to leave the house, I want everything delivered, to, oh shit, I can't get out. I can't get out. And
well, you hit on something though. It's not just you're sad.
No.
Okay. You physically.
It is a physical thing.
Feel like you are going through mud to do anything, and just to get in the bathtub and bathe yourself could be the biggest Herculean effort of the day.
It's still
absolutely
to walk.
It's like walking through quicksand or a bad dream where you're trying to run after somebody and you can't. You can't run. You go like.
Can I ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because all three of you are saying relatively similar things,
right?
Do recreational drugs hinder progress by helping to suppress and deny, or does it make progress easier?
Well, my answer to that is I don't know, because I can't take anything. I can't use like my body doesn't like THC, so yeah, I don't know. I think the other two ladies can answer that though.
I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to play chat representative.
Right.
And what the
Yeah.
chat might want to know.
For me, like recreational drugs, quote unquote, helped the anxiety, and they help my lupus pain. So it helps my lupus pain. So, for me, that's a very good thing. But then it's a catch-22, because if you're depressed and you're not in a good place and you're not working a program and you're just in the depression, it's going to help. It's going to help you just not be depressed, but it's going to help you put off things and not do things. And, it does. It makes it easier to slide from, one day to the next with very little.
There's a reason why stoners aren't running around out there, destroying everything. Most
right.
Very true.
Because we're on the couch eating pizza, I mean.
And I know of people. I know several people that strictly only use marijuana. They won't take medications for one reason or another, and weed is what works for them. It's never been that for me, but I know a lot of people who it works for. Maybe it's only the people that have just anxiety, though, and not depression.
I could see that, because it is not it's not an upper.
Right. It's not a get up and go. It's not a get up and go thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even the best sativa is not a stimulant.
Right.
It make you feel like you want to do things, but
it doesn't make you do them, right?
It doesn't make you do them. No. No.
But you make a lot of good lists, though. I mean, you gotta admit,
a lot of good lists.
Damn good lists. Yeah. Big time.
I am the queen of lists. I sent Counting a picture. So we talked this morning about this. We've actually talked about this subject for months, but we talked this morning about this for like 2 hours, and I was making notes and scratch all over my graph paper, and then when I talked to her later, I had to make it neater. So I made like bullet points. I took the scratch from when we talked this morning, and I sent her the picture of the one that I did right before at like 6. And I said, what do you think that's good? And then I sent her the picture of the one that I made while we were on the phone.
And see, I love it. I love lists. I have, the first thing my therapist did was like, she's like, you have to stop making so many lists for yourself, because I make lists and then I mourn over everything I don't do on the list, and I'm going to put everything on a list. So I had to start making smaller lists, or just making lists of. She changed it to where she's like, okay, for this next week or few days, I want you to only make a list of things you actually do it, and then make a list and put it on the list.
I like that idea.
And that helped me a lot, because I'm bad to, I'll be like, okay, I'm just going to make a list of things I want to do today, and then I end up
750,000 things
5
on that
pages
list.
back and forth for the rest of my life, like, and it's overwhelming. You overwhelm yourself.
What my therapist did with me was I read off my 875,000 things to do, and she, because she's a smart cookie, divided them into categories. So what I do is I work for 2 hours a day on things that bring in money, whether it's Social Security calls that I need to make, or unemployment, my appeal claim, or going to another food bank or something. And then the second category is Jesus. Now I can't even remember. See, I'm going to be in trouble.
You didn't have that on your list?
It's on my list. I'm looking for the damn list.
Are you a list maker, Lori?
Lori should make lists, but Lori just doesn't make lists.
It's my health. Finances are one. My health is the other. I'm not taking care of a lot of things that I need to take care of in a really long time. So So it's my finances and my health. So every day I take what she calls chunking it. I take 3 things from the finance part, and in that 2-hour period, I work on only those 3 things. And then I take 3 things from my physical health section, and I work on only those, whether it's a phone call or sending somebody an email or researching and finding out more information. So what's secondary to all that, because these are the things that are looming over me, what's secondary to that is work in your self-care, work in your time. That's 4 hours out of the day.
And that's something Georgia didn't do.
No.
When she made her list.
No.
Of things that she wants to do. Like she forgot to put that in for herself,
Yeah, I didn't I put in like coffee and shower. No, I put in get up, and she put in coffee and shower. I put in nap.
Get up and nap.
And then she put in crochet and bedtime routine. And then what I do is on the weekends when I don't have, I can't call agencies on the weekend or doctor's offices on the weekend. So on the weekend, I make a list. I'll read you my list from July 1st and 2nd. It says, I have it on a whiteboard. It says, happy birthday, Gampy, who is my dad's nickname. He would have been like, I don't even know, 87, 89 years old. And then it says in pink, it says room, organize laundry, hang clothing. And then it says kitchen, 1 load of dishes, plan dinner, cook dinner. And that's my whole weekend. The whole weekend. In between, any time I feel like I can add more, what I add is bringing a box from downstairs upstairs to unpack. And while that this will all change as I finish these things that are looming over my head, it'll get more into the mental health, the care, and changing my way of thinking and doing things in a healthier way. But for now, I've got 4 hours a day that I spend, either thinking about making phone calls and sending emails or actually doing it. And today I took my happy ass down to the Social Security office and they were closed. So I couldn't see him, but
you did it. You did it.
I did it. And I made a couple of doctor's appointments. I left a message to schedule my mammogram. And once all of those things are done, like I said, my whole thing will change. There will be lists involved though.
I'll be honest, I am ADHD. And so
I am too.
I literally can make the list of like all the things I'm going to do, all my little chores on the way out of the house, right? And I will be on one side of town and I'll have that damn list and I'll still miss stuff and have to go back on to that side of town. That's just for some reason.
You want to know, add ADHD, add to that a little bit of OCD, and I will map that on Google Maps before I go, adding like 4 or 5 locations. I know where I'm
Do you mark the things off your list?
Hell yeah.
As you do them?
Oh, hell yeah.
Like my cousin has ADHD. She's like that, and she'll make a list, but she will either A, forget the list or lose it, and B, not mark anything off the list so she misses things.
Oh no, checking shit off is like my crack for the day is checking off tasks.
It's awesome.
That's the best
I
thing.
can remember leaving the house once and I was driving around with my list and I ended up having to go back onto the other side of town because I kept missing stuff. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And then I realized, oh, you didn't take your ADHD medication today.
Yep.
And I'm like, you forgot to take your medicine. Ha ha. Right. But,
it makes a difference.
That's how you can focus.
Right.
Have all 3 of you suffered PTSD?
Well, again, my answer to that is we don't know yet.
Okay.
Yeah. I do. Yes, I have it.
Okay. All right. I've got a little thing on PTSD here. For those that may not have any clue what it really is, have heard the term a lot but don't know what it is. It's just a little 4-minute thing here.
Awesome.
And again, these are from channels with health professional licenses in the United States. So I'm not showing you, mumbo jumbo.
I didn't even want to go to sleep. The nightmares were so bad.
That image kept coming back to me. I didn't want to remember it, but there it was.
I felt like I was right back there in the middle of that horrible day. The smells, the sounds, it was so real.
I tried to go grocery shopping, but I couldn't be around all those people without seeing the exit.
For me, I kept seeing this one image of a Marine who had just died. Is challenging, but there is hope. Talk to your doctor and get some help because treatment works. People can learn to live again. I know. I did.
And I think that's probably the overarching message of all of this is that no matter what it is that we as individuals may be dealing with, there are treatments, there are ways to help.
That's it. That's
there is hope.
removing the stigma of seeking help. That's it. It sounds so easy. Seek help.
A lot of I know the insurance I have does not cover any kind of mental or emotional treatments.
Right. And that's, to me, that's one of the biggest sins. Let's go Medicare for all, whatever. But is that you're working, you have supposedly great insurance, yet you still can't afford your therapy. And mind you, again, I worked for an insurance company, and then I lose everything. I get state insurance, and now I don't want to give that up. So I'm like, ooh, how much can I work? I need to be able to pay my way, and if I work full time, I lose the coverage. And it shouldn't be that way.
No.
We need to realize that mental health is regular health care because your physical symptoms, you will have physical symptoms,
right.
From and also physical symptoms cause mental health. I just saw some people in the chat talking about back pain and surgeries and medications and stuff. And I had a pain condition for since I was 15 until recently. And I had to work really hard to get rid of that. But the medications they put you on and all of just being in pain all the time really can lead to a lot of mental things like anxiety, depression.
Right. And vice versa. The mental stuff can lead to physical, and the physical stuff can lead to mental stuff. Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword, and they work hand in hand. And I actually know a girl who had a lot of trauma early, a lady now. And, she reached the point, she was always pushing the trauma down, pushing it down, and not dealing with it. And it finally said, I'm going to come up. And it was getting to where she was having such physical symptoms that she was forced to go seek mental health for the trauma and the anxiety, because she did, and I think a lot of people want to do that because they're busy. Maybe they have kids, whatever it is.
Right.
Plus it's still stigmatized.
It is.
Yes.
It's still, you're still looked at as weak if you can't handle it yourself, especially men.
I was going to say, luckily we women that have gotten to a certain age go, fuck it, we don't care what you think.
Yeah.
And we go to get ourselves help. But yeah, it is for men. I need to interrupt for a second. I made a commitment to myself tonight that I would participate for an hour. I need to go make dinner. I need to talk to my daughter, and I think that we need to continue this conversation many more times. I don't see why. I'm so glad that
at least 150 more.
Exactly. I'm so glad that Freeway has.
Would you list the available?
Do what?
No, I was going to make a joke about we need to do it 150 more times. Could you list the available dates?
I'll make a list.
Yes.
I'll make a list. Yeah.
I have a spreadsheet. No.
Oh, she'll make a spreadsheet. I'll make a list. What are you going to do, Laura? You're just going to woohoo.
She's going to be in charge of the list.
But you know what?
Helping you guys make your
look at oh, you're so welcome. Always be kind. And Breeway, the two of them have been talking in chat, and maybe they made each other feel better. Always be kind. I hope that we that all three of us and Barry made you feel a little bit better about EMDR and not afraid of it and willing to go do it like your doctor asked you to. So,
give
that's
it
what
a shot. It seems
we
like
can,
it works in a lot of cases.
we
Always
can
remember that there's hope, and there's always hope. and you're not alone.
Yeah.
That's so important.
And you lose
really
that.
is.
You lose that at certain, like I haven't had hope for years. And the fact that it came back almost as soon as I started therapy, I mean, nothing really is better in my life, but I now have hope that it's going to get better.
There you go.
And that, I mean, we're talking 3 therapy sessions. We're not talking I've been in it for months and months. So yeah, I hope that Always Be Kind and Breeway, got some something out of this, and I hope we get to do this again real soon, and I hope that more people come around. And I'm not saying you guys have to stop, but I made the commitment to myself that I was going to be done. So
Awesome. Thank
Lori,
you
I
for
love
being here.
you.
Sharing.
Lori, I love you. Barry, I love you. I was
you
a
too.
United Methodist Church member, so that's why I connect to you, because you were a United Methodist pastor. But
Nice.
and Cunning, love you, dear. Let's talk later. I'm going to go make dinner, so I'm out of
Okay,
here.
sounds good.
All right. Thank you,
All right,
Julie.
love you
Enjoy,
guys.
hon.
Love
Love
you.
Love you. Bye.
That's why it's important, I think, Barry, for people to go. I really like the way this talk went tonight, because it's important for people to get their stories out. I always say, I'm willing to tell my story, not because I want to relive it and boo-hoo it and get sympathy, but because it's important that people can say, oh my God, me too.
I'm not the only one.
I'm not, because as GA was telling her story, I was like, oh my God, that is physical. Like certain stuff made sense, and it can be very helpful to people. That's important.
Okay.
It is. And every time you talk about it, it frees something inside you even more.
And
Like for me.
don't get caught up in the number of viewers, especially on my channel, because I've got so many people that watch, don't watch live, but watch,
Yeah, this is a cozy, nice talk.
that
And I've enjoyed it.
Barry, do you know that I watched a video today about mental health and how social media has affected our kids and stuff? And do you know that suicide is the number 2 killer of our children? I think it was age 10 to 24. This is mental. I don't want to call it illness, but there's mental issues there.
Mm-hmm.
That are, not just mental illness, but mental issues that are being caused by other things. But our kids are really, it's not just adults, these kids are really, if we're feeling this way, how are they feeling?
Yeah,
it's a crisis. It needs
is a
to be addressed. It has to be. We're not going to get better if it isn't. Like, mental health is health, and it's just as important as physical health, if not more so. And it's obvious that there's a problem.
Do you two want to stay up here, or I'm going to play a couple of other things here, I think.
Yeah, I'd like to watch.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. One of the things I want to play is the 10 worst states for mental health care. But first, I want to play Why Stupid People Think They're Smart.
That's perfect. I don't hear anything. Does anyone else?
Are you not hearing it?
I can't hear
didn't.
anything.
Yeah.
You're not hearing it either, Lori?
No.
Oh, no. What? It's not coming through? Were you seeing it but not hearing it? Or were you not seeing anything?
I see you.
You weren't seeing the... Okay, let me try it again.
We're so on top of this social media
All right.
stuff, aren't
Okay.
we?
Are you, do you see that? Do you see it? Why stupid people think they're smart?
Yes.
Okay. Did you not see that before?
No.
Okay. All right. That's my bad. I clicked the wrong button. Thank you for calling me on that. Let's start again.
To understand, let's break knowledge down into 4 quadrants. So there are known knowns, things that we know, like I know how to ride a bike. There are known unknowns, things that we don't know. For example, I have no fucking clue how quantum physics works. And then there are unknown known, things that you forgot you knew or you don't realize that you know. Like you still remember how to drive to the supermarket from your childhood home. You just forgot that you knew that. And then there are unknown unknowns, stuff that you don't know that you don't know. When we are an amateur at something, we are very aware of the things that we know, and we're completely oblivious to the things that we don't know. Let's use basketball as an example. If you know nothing about basketball,
or we could use social media as an example, because we see all the time people that are amateurs in things displaying clearly things they do not know.
Exactly.
it seems simple enough. You throw a ball into the net. You know what you know and don't know what you don't know.
If you're a man over 35.
Okay, even though I'm a man over 35, I'm not going to listen to you.
Ball, you discover that there are a lot of nuances. How you shoot the ball, the mechanics of your elbow, wrist, and forearm, how you position the ball in your hand, understanding the different shots, a fadeaway, a jumper, a layup, a finger roll, an alley-oop. You're beginning to become aware of all the things you don't know. And there's a lot that you don't know. Let's say you spend another year working on basketball. You've mastered a bunch of different shots and learned to shoot with good form. Now you're getting into the weeds of defensive schemes, hand checking, picks and rolls, setting various kinds of screens. At this point, you're no longer even thinking about your shooting form or how to hit a free throw. You've forgotten you know this stuff. It's unconscious. It's automatic. It's the stuff you know, but you forgot you know, and there's a ton of it. As you can see, the difference between an amateur and a professional is that an amateur's knowledge is known to them, therefore they get to feel smart about it. But an expert, so much of their knowledge is either unconscious and automatic, or it's knowledge of what they still need to learn. Another way to visualize this shift is to think of knowledge as a circle. The area within the circle is what you know about a topic, and the border is the horizon of your knowledge, or everything that you're aware of that you don't know yet. This border is what determines our uncertainty or doubt. Interestingly, as the size of your circle grows larger, the horizon of your knowledge also grows larger. The more you know that you don't know. But something else happens as well as you gain knowledge. As you implement information and it becomes automatic, you forget that you know it. So there's a second border inside the first. This smaller circle is everything that you've forgotten you know. So not only is the expert's horizon of doubt much longer, most of their knowledge is also unconscious. They forgot that they know it because it strikes them as so obvious and immediate, why even think about it? The idiot thinks he knows everything because he literally doesn't have enough knowledge to know better. Meanwhile, the expert thinks he knows nothing because he is so aware of all the ways in which he may be wrong. Now, I know what you're probably doing right now. It's probably the same thing I did and most people do when they learn about the Dunning-Kruger effect. You think to yourself, What a bunch of fucking idiots. Good thing I know about this Dunning-Kruger effect thing, because, you know, I'm super aware of all my flaws. That makes me like an expert at fucking everything. So this is the tricky thing about learning about cognitive biases.
Now, how many internet people do we know that are just what he just said? Hey, they're fucking experts on everything.
We would like to think that because we're aware of all the ways our mind fucks up, that we are somehow immune to those fuck ups. But once again, we are so wrong. Because again and again, research has shown that educating people about their cognitive biases doesn't really make them any less susceptible to cognitive biases. And that is the most frustrating thing about the Dunning-Kruger effect. It is so hard to overcome, both in others, but also in ourselves. Because here's the thing, they're called blind spots for a reason. You can't fucking see them. How do you fix something that you can't see in yourself? This is the paradox of trying to overcome our own ignorance. The very thing that would help us see our mistakes is exactly what would prevent us from making them in the first place. Part of the problem,
and part of the reason I'm playing this is because we're talking about mental health, and he's talking about blind spots and about how we may not see things in ourselves. And that's why we need to talk to someone else. We need to have a sounding board, not necessarily a friend or an acquaintance, but someone that has some sort of training in listening and directing.
problem is that there is a comfort in the feeling of knowing. People don't like uncertainty. Settling on a belief, whether it's true or not, is a way to resolve anxiety within ourselves. So our minds often default to believing things even if we don't have a whole lot of evidence for them. And unfortunately, ripping on people for being fucking stupid doesn't really help the situation either. Anybody who's
Again, this is another reason, because we are so often at each other, and using, you're just stupid. That's just stupid. That it doesn't work. It doesn't help.
Who's gotten in a dumbass argument in comment threads can tell you this from experience. Again and again, psychology has shown that when people's beliefs are challenged, they don't change their minds, they actually get more rigid and defensive. So what are we supposed to do? Well, starting with ourselves, I think it's an important practice to perhaps hold fewer opinions, or at least hold them less strongly. This means being less emotionally attached to our beliefs. In other words, I think there's a lot to say for humility. When you see something online that is upsetting or angering or frustrating, instead of jumping to conclusions about that person or that cause, maybe sit back and say, I don't know. What the fuck am I saying? You guys aren't gonna do that, let's be honest. Last year I created an online course that helped people challenge their own beliefs. It helped people figure out how to hold opinions a little bit more softly. Funny thing, nobody fucking took the course. It for some reason there wasn't a ton of demand for that. And not to mention, it's fucking hard to market. Like, how do you market a thing to people that's gonna make them feel wrong about everything they believe in their life? That's not exactly like the most enticing sales pitch. But if for some reason you want to take that course, you can find the link in the description. Good fucking luck. So when it comes to other people, I think one of the hard truths that I've had to swallow over the years is that you can't really change the mind of somebody who's not willing to have their mind changed. You can throw as much data and statistics and logical arguments at them, but they're just gonna like ninjutsu that shit, pull a Neo in the Matrix, and all the bullets are gonna get by them. I think this is because most people's beliefs are not based on logic or reason. Most people's beliefs are based on identity and group affiliation. And so when you show them contradicting data, their thought process isn't, oh, I need to update my prior assumptions about the world. Their thought process is like, I'm being attacked. My tribe is being attacked. Many years ago,
I love shopping the real.
Okay, hang on.
So true. Wow.
It's very true, but something I learned a while back when I started doing my protesting and I wanted people to come up and talk to me was that when someone does, they usually come in a little hot, maybe even, is to find something you can agree on and diffuse that so that you can then start talking as like kind of just two people more, if that makes any kind of sense.
Oh yeah, it makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's not tricking somebody really. To me, what it is it's like, okay, listen, hey, look at, we can somehow agree on something. Maybe we can talk civilly about the rest of it, or
Well, Lori, you and I kind of touched base on this earlier today, when when we were on your channel, that um, you have the issue, the pedophile issue is something that you are just burning hot, adamant, passionate about.
no quarter.
No quarter. And but other issues, you're not so, it does not every issue engulfs you, and I think that's um that's an important part of what this guy's saying, is that, so maybe we need to just step back and what's really significant enough to invest your time, passion, energy, whatever you want to call it, into.
Definitely, Barry.
Cunning,
Yeah.
what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I understand where Lori comes from, because to me, so many problems stem from, you know, abuse and of pedophiles, and in different ways, and children are the most vulnerable of all of us, and the most innocent, and it's the worst thing that you can do, or that can happen to you. To me, so it's really high up there. It's what drives me.
What are you thinking about?
More importantly,
think about what he's saying about it might be better for our mental health to have less issues that we become embroiled over.
I mean, I agree with that. But if only we could control ourselves like that. Like it's true. It's true. Like you have to get to a place where you have to say to yourself sometimes, there is literally nothing I can do about this situation, whatever it is.
But yet we see it being, we see this all the time on other platforms, other panels, the constant rehashing, and the same people on each side going at each other over the same things.
Well, there was never any end or resolution. You know what I mean? Like for the longest time this last year, I felt like I needed that. I had to have closure of some kind. Like, these people that did what they did, but it's gotten progressively worse and worse, and there's more to all of it, and it continues. And there's a point where I just had to say, I know what I know, and I've done what I could, but there's literally nothing I can do about some of it. Like, and I'm not going to get the resolution I want, so I have to let that be okay. Like, you have to kind of let it go a little. And just for now, like, that's how I feel. Like if I'm watching and listening, it's not my whole life, but I don't know, Lori, it's so frustrating, huh? It's so frustrating.
Yes, honestly. Okay, so I actually, because this is the 1-year anniversary of all that stuff, I've had some stuff pop up on Facebook of I actually had done some recorded videos from Texas last year before everybody started protesting down there, and I was calling out this 1776 restoration movement for the pedophile. And I was calling this out and saying somebody's got to do something. I don't care if it's protesting, I don't care what it is. Please, somebody do something. Help me, because this is wrong. And I remembered the passion of what I felt and how angry I was about those pedophiles being around children. I can honestly say today, there's nothing for me to protest anymore. The pedophile is not in a parking lot with children, which is why I started all of this. That was my thing. Pedophilia.
I'm so glad you said that. Thank you. That helps me too.
It is.
Yeah.
It is that like I'm free now. I've done my due diligence. I left a year of my life and I went down and I lived the protest. My job was done. And my contribution is done, and I feel like I did a damn good job, because these people are like nothing. Now there's still a pedophile out there, and he's still around kids, but I can't do anything about that. Me, myself, and I right now. So you have to let go of some of this shit. I can't save everybody from every pedophile. I can't protest every one of them. I can't. I have to let some of that go. But all this other stuff, like this political stuff, I had to let all that shit that used to bother me all the time. I had to put a lot of that aside for this one protest to follow the passion I had, the thing that really bothered me the most. And I had to put it aside. And in the process of putting aside my gusto, shall we say, for those issues, I was able to listen to people who had other opinions, who had other views. And in that time frame, I was able to actually, if not fully like change my opinion, it changed a lot of shit in my brain, and how I see things.
The thing is, the going back to the segment we just watched, the guy was talking about the person's not going to change their mind unless they are willing to change their mind. You're just going to, when you attack, you're just driving them deeper into their beliefs. And what you're saying is that's what happened to you. It wasn't like anybody was trying to force you to believe anything. You were just around people with different opinions and just saw different things.
Yes, and people who defenses were down some because of our shared passion for what I was protesting. And so they were able to talk, and I don't want to say with kid gloves or nothing, but like in that more civilized kind of trying to understand you. I don't want to try to offend you kind of manner, and we could talk things out. And I got to hear some real truths from people that made me see things differently. It really has. It didn't change all my views, but it made me see things very differently that are very key things. So I think that's important.
I agree.
But you can't do that when you're angry when you're like so angry that you have your fingers in your ears and you just have your mouth open. It takes a lot of people being able to say, as passionate as I am about it, I got to shut up for a second, let somebody else talk, and not only let them talk and not sit and think about how I'm going to refute what they're saying, but actually stop, clear my mind, and listen to what they are saying. Exactly. And try to understand what they're saying.
That's so important. And a lot of people don't do that. They only talk, they don't listen. And when someone else is talking, they're thinking about what they're going to say next.
Yeah. And you can see it when you're having a conversation with somebody that's doing it. You can tell when somebody is. There's a difference between being quiet, listening, and hearing. Okay. Just being quiet when somebody else is talking. If you are contemplating what you're going to be saying, then you're not listening. You may be hearing, but you're not listening. And
That's something that when I was doing my stuff back at home, I had a lot of people who would just come up to me and just talk to me, whether it was about the protest or about anything, you know. It
Mhm.
could be a homeless person. I mean, it didn't matter. People would come up and I would talk to them. And one of the things that because I'm one of those people that used to always be thinking about what I was going to say. What am I thinking? How am I going to refute what you're saying? And I had to really change my way of thinking. And one of the things I tried to do was look people in the eyes and really do that and let them see that I am looking at you and I'm paying attention to you and I'm listening to you. And I've had people tell me, I don't know why I'm telling you this stuff. I don't normally tell people this and I don't even know you, but I feel like you really care. Somehow you really care.
Yeah, just because you're having a conversation with them and listening, that's a sign of, it's a sign of respect. It's a sign of caring. It's a sign of what you have to say is important, and I want to hear it. So I'm going to be quiet and listen.
Well, in our society today, don't you think that and I mean all of us, are trying to be heard? The problem is none of us want to shut up and listen so somebody else can be heard.
That is a big problem, and another big problem is at times, unless you have the loudest voice, you're not going to be heard because there are so many voices trying to be heard.
You know what, though, Barry?
And then you get the echo chamber where the same thing is just said over and over and over, only in different ways.
You know what, though? I will say that we think that the loudest person is the person that always gets heard. But the truth is I've had two different ways of protesting, and my most effective way of protesting was the quiet way, with a genuine smile and genuinely talking to people. In a way, I feel like that was the thing I'm more proud of, and that I actually probably maybe did some difference more there than I did when I had a megaphone and I was yelling or insulting somebody or, shouting stuff, because that gets attention from people who want to watch and be entertained and stuff and like drama. But the real people who really are probably the people I want to talk to and I want to reach out to, they're quiet. They will gravitate towards someone who's genuine and who's not going to yell at them, but who's going to listen to them and talk to them. I've had people who absolutely would normally never talk to somebody, quote unquote, like me, who will do it because they've said, listen, I see your smile's genuine. And I can see in your eyes that you genuinely are not being a nasty person to me,
Yeah. I didn't say, I just said the loudest voice got heard. I didn't say that was the most effective way of getting your message across, because what you're saying is a much more effective way. It's much more effective to stand on the side of the street with a smile and a sign that is, legible to those passing by than it is to scream at them like Steve.
But it doesn't get the views, Barry. It's something I've had to think about myself.
You mean views online or views? You talking about viewers?
It doesn't get views. It doesn't get donos. It's not as exciting for people to just watch somebody calmly talk, standing with a sign, smiling and waving. That's not as entertaining as somebody getting up and trolling people and
are you doing it to end pedophilia or are you doing it to entertain people?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And for me, I
don't worry about the viewers. Worry about your focus.
Absolutely. Yep. I agree. That's what I'm saying is that, like I refuse to just go and just troll. Now, I'm not saying I would never do something outrageous, because I would. I have that capability to go, and I mean outrageous by protesting and being outrageous and, in a costume or this or that. I don't have a problem with that when it's needed, but I'm not going to force it just so that people will watch me. I'm not going to do something so that somebody will watch it, because to me, this is just me. I'm really struggling that I'm trying to find something that I feel that same passion for that I felt going and protesting against 76.
And we're getting a little off track from but
sorry.
No, it's fine. So you're looking for something to be active. You're looking for an activist role, what you can be an activist for or against.
Yes,
because that's kind of where your passion's at.
Yeah, and in my and this goes with the mental health or health, yeah, I guess. And as I've been recovering from all my stuff, and I just got to the point in my life where I realized that I feel like this is just what I'm good at. I want to be an activist.
Okay.
I want to make a difference somehow in this world. And so for me, that's mentally what makes me happy. And I think that, as long as it's done in the correct way, you don't want to get yourself mentally unbalanced doing something if you do get it too much in your head. But
yeah. Cunning, what do you want to be when you grow up?
A mermaid, for sure. For sure. But until I do that, I reached out and found I can do some volunteer work, behind the scenes, like even from home, helping with for the shelters around that help the children that have been abused and the women. I know what you mean, because starting the beginning of the year and through this whole process that we've all been through the last year, um, I started having this urge to give back and to try and help other people that have, were going through the same thing I was, or that just have been through something, and I discussed it with my therapist, and that's a natural progression of things when you start to get better mental health wise, and you start, doing better, you naturally want to give back and you want to help others. Altruism, I guess, it's like a natural process of that healing process. And that's a good thing, in whatever way it is, activism, volunteering, something that that touches that place in you, that you want to give back and help others and do something. I totally understand what you're saying, Lori, because, it's, now that I'm at the place I'm in, which is a healing place, and I'm 1,000% better than I was 5 or 6 years ago, and I want to keep going forward and doing better, and that means, for me, it's the big thing in my life, like children that are suffering and going through that. How can we help them? First, we want to. We want to stop it, but also the kids that have been through it. What is it that we can do to help? So that's really important in my mind.
This is that's Cunning Stunt, me, and Lori Arnold, for those that are asking. Cunning's right there, Lori, and me. So and
hi, Nancy.
GA from CA was here earlier, Nancy. So
and you know what,
characters here at the end.
You know what, Cunning? There's just this thing that it's not for everyone, but for some people, and that's like what I feel, is that not everyone can do it, but I can. I'm at that point in life where I don't have to be beholden to children, even to a husband. I can give my entire life for a cause. I can do it. I may still have to work or, some, but I can do that and I'm willing to do that. And we always need in society people who will do those things, whether it's me finding a place to do activism, or it's someone who, like you were saying, you're starting to give back to different, being able to help different people. I mean, it's just whatever we feel like we can do to give back, and whatever position you're in, to whatever level you can do that. But it's something sometimes you just have to do sometimes after trauma, I think, to be able to deal with it all, and to know that trauma, maybe even worse trauma, is still going on today with other people. You want that to stop for them, because you know how horrible it is, and you've been able to get past a lot of it, and you want to bring that healing, and you want to stop what made it in the first place.
Have you ever thought about taking a couple of classes along that line and possibly begin to get into actually helping people?
Yes, there's a lot of different avenues, that I've been thinking about. Whether it's joining groups that help catch pedophiles, because there's a lot of local groups that will do things like that. There's just all kinds of stuff.
I've realized that I don't think I'm capable of dealing in a good, healthy way for myself with the pedophilia side of it. I've learned that about myself over the last year. And I know Lori will get this, especially, like, for me, it was a very personal thing to know those children were in that parking lot around that man. It stressed me to no end. I can't tell you, like, it affected my sleep, my health. And when they weren't in the parking lot with him any longer, it was a huge, huge relief. Even though, nothing got settled really or whatever, it was an end to that risk and that possibility. So
yeah,
it's too personal still for me. I've realized I have, for me, like, I don't know if I can say it. I mean, I think it should be the death penalty for, period.
Yes.
That's how I feel. And that's how my, I'm not able or willing even to try and be fair-minded or think logically in that situation. I'm just not. I'm not
But
there.
actually, that is thinking fair-minded, and that is thinking logically, because logically,
well, yeah.
People who are willing to abuse children sexually, rape children, they have proven to us that they are a danger to our children in our society. Okay, that will not change. They've already proven they're willing to give into their urges. And so once they've done that, there's no real rehabilitation for that. That's we're not going to change that sexual preference. Okay. And so I'm sorry, but there is no place anymore in this society for them. So our government needs to figure out what to do with them. But for our government to put pedophiles that they've convicted back into our society around our children should be criminal for the government to do
Yes. That. Yeah. They're putting every child out there at risk every time they do it.
Every time.
And it's, yeah.
They either need to spend the money and put some kind of tracking system on these people.
No, they don't need to let them out.
Or
they shouldn't even be alive.
Exactly.
They give
agree.
Every child they touch, or I don't mean touch literally, I mean every child they are around, they have given that child a life sentence of some kind.
Do you know, Cunning,
and it's not okay.
Cunning, do you know that I saw today on a documentary that every online sex child predator, predator of children online, every one of them has approximately 250 victims. Let that sink in. 250 victims per pedophile online.
Oh
my gosh.
Jesus. Yeah, that's, I mean, the internet really makes it easy to wreak havoc and to do damage. You can do a lot of psychological damage.
And I think a lot of our mental health issues, even today, I have wept on the street with grown men who were like old men crying because of the abuse they suffered, the sexual abuse, and it's not a female or male, it's both sexes, and it's old people who have suffered it, but they suffered silently. They didn't talk about it.
Yeah. Nancy, I'd like to address what Nancy said. This is just, of course, all my opinion, Nancy. And by the way, I love your videos about the monarch butterflies. I've learned a lot, and it's very cool. But Nancy said there were so many eyes on that parking lot, though. I like to think that was a big deterrent. And I'll tell you, just in my opinion and from my side of it, 1 second is too much. And like we just said, the psychological damage is done quickly and underhandedly and very sneaky, and it can be long lasting. And you have to remember, Nancy, that who was in charge of that parking lot? It was Nadia Aubrey. She was in charge of the children's safety. She was the one that issued the edict, no filming there in the parking lot, because he had been caught on video. So,
and we can't downplay that. I'm sorry, we cannot.
No,
downplay
we
that,
cannot.
That there was video.
But at the same time,
yeah, and you can never say for sure that those children were safe. We don't know.
But at the same time, how much easier would it have been for even more to happen if Lori and AP and Ant and Pluck and the eyes that were on it, the independent eyes that were on that parking lot, had they not been there holding them accountable, if you will, how much easier could it have been for more to happen?
Oh yes, I mean, yeah, for sure.
Lori was, Lori was there in the darkest of darkness, and
I was literally, I watched that video and I was calling people because I still had I have phone numbers of all those people who were over there and stuff. I was trying to get a hold of friggin' Oreo Express, trying to find out what, please get that guy out of there. Please. I'm not a part of this anymore, but I want this shit to stop. You guys know this isn't right. And their security people and all that. I'm getting a hold of these people saying, please don't let this happen. And they're getting back with me. Oh, little woman, we'll take care of it. Don't worry. We know things you don't know, or, stupid stuff like that, or just ignoring me. And so, there was a lot of concern, and there was I was calling the sheriff department down there. I know other people that were calling the sheriff department down there to let them know about the pedophile down there, and we were getting resistance or just it being ignored.
Everyone was so nonchalant. I couldn't believe it. Everyone was so like it was no big deal.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And something like pedophilia, I'm sorry, that is something that does cause mental illness, mental issues, not illness, mental issues, because it really messes with a child's mind.
Yes.
For a long time, sometimes a lifetime of just horrible stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah. We've been talking about it all night.
And I think
it's a lifetime of fighting just to have any kind of semblance of normal life. It changes everything in you.
It does. And I just think of all the stuff that it stole from me, and I see what I've seen it steal from other people. And I hate to see people just nonchalantly put children in with people that have proven that they would harm them, and nonchalantly, and sometimes, you can't stop everything, but sometimes you just, damn it, you got to take a stand about something.
And then they lie about it.
Yes.
Which makes you question, well, what's your motivation? If there is no danger, why are you lying?
Lying
Yeah.
and hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, see, guys, this is what they do.
And
like, I'm sorry, but it's true.
and it has
That's textbook.
it has had an impact and an effect on everybody that watched it.
Yes, I guarantee you, there are so many people out there that it affected and they never said anything either. Like,
Yeah.
people that are
Yeah.
like me, like Lori, that have been through things that really make it personal. There are so many people out there that it affected that way. I guarantee you.
Absolutely.
All
right.
There's no telling.
Ladies, you come back next Monday night?
Sure, Barry.
Please.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll have
absolutely.
We'll have Georgia for another hour. And we'll make sure she stays on her regime, her regiment.
She will. Hey, she's on it. I'm so proud of her.
And
I'm so proud and excited.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm. I wasn't being facetious. I was being.
Oh no,
trying to
yeah.
be supportive.
Hey, shoot.
I think it's
Yeah.
great because it's real easy to get on here and talk and talk and talk and talk, and all of a sudden, you've wasted your whole life doing nothing but talking online. So, and I'm probably even more guilty than anybody else. But so I appreciate her having a regime, and this is therapeutic for me.
Oh, good.
Because
it is me too. Yeah.
I probably should have. Had some professional help. When Kay died suddenly, and I'm coming up on the 3-year. I'm coming up on the 3-year anniversary of the day she died here, and I was going through computer files the other day, and I clicked on this video file that I wasn't sure what it was, and her voice comes out the speakers, and the things I was seeing in the little videos and the things we've been talking about, it immediately took me right back to where I couldn't save her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get it. You get it.
I couldn't.
That's it right there. Yeah.
I couldn't save her. And yeah. So thank you for being here.
That's major.
Yeah.
Thank all of you thank all of you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, Barry. Thank you.
It's important. It's important to talk about this and to have a place for people to, like you said, for you, for someone in chat, it's important. It matters. And I appreciate you.
Next time, next week, we may switch up the topic and then come back to mental health, like every other week or something. I don't know yet, but next time we do this, we're going to talk about the 10 worst states for mental health. 5 interesting behaviors that may be linked to psychopathy.
Psychopathy?
Psychopathy. Thank you.
I don't know if that's right.
It is. Narcissistic personality disorder. Hold on. I'm not sharing these, am I? Here we go. All right. 5 behaviors, psychopathy. Narcissistic personality disorders, and we did PTSD, didn't we?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, there's a lot more we can talk about, and we might, end up helping people, which is what we're trying to do.
It's interesting with the PTSD because I always thought of PTSD as like something just for soldiers, or somebody who had been through war or something really where they would hear a noise and, jump really big and be really brought back to war and stuff. And I always thought, well, mine's not that bad, but I realized from tonight that yes, it is PTSD.
Yeah. Yeah. And I realized, I hear something, I automatically go right back to Kay being here dead and me not being able to help.
Right.
So, I recognize something tonight.
That's good. It's good that we all help each other. I think that like I said, when we can discuss things in this manner, where we're not just boo-hoo, but we're really trying to help each other and to share our stories. I think that really helps people.
I hope
this
it
is
does.
the best part of what's come out of the shit show for me. Like meeting you guys and having a place to talk and listen and learn.
Well, thank you.
It's awesome. I'm happy about it. It's a good thing.
Yes, I hope so. I hope so. I want it to be. That's the whole purpose of doing this, is to do good things.
Honestly, if it helps one person, then it was worth sitting and talking, right? We got to sit and talk, have a nice conversation, and one person got helped.
And again, as I said in the very beginning, now that we're getting ready to wrap this up, now that we are wrapping this up, if you're not sleepy and you're wanting something else to watch, Lori and I had a really good conversation on her channel earlier. Go check that out. I don't know who else is live at the moment, but I'm sure there may be somebody else out there. But we had a pretty good conversation on a lot of different topics, or at least I thought we did.
Oh, very good. Yep. And I did see the Sound of Freedom movie. And so I gave a little bit of a review and we kind of started talking from there and then it went on. So
yeah.
All
right. Thank you, ladies.
Thanks, Barry.
I'm going to go check that out after this.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Love you both. Talk to you soon. The one and only Lori Arnold, Cunning Stunt on Doofus After Dark on the American Doofus channel. Thank you very much for tuning in, for clicking on. And we try to do things here that don't get done on other spots, And I think we might have done a little bit of that tonight, and hopefully we do a little bit more of it in the future. And it's only possible because you all are here. Love you. Thank you so very much. Namaste. Shalom. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Blessings be upon you. Peace. Positive vibrations. Live long and prosper. Much love. Thank you for being here. It's a dark world. Try to be a light. See you next